In our many years on the frontiers of healing, we've tapped into a great deal of ancient wisdom.
We're really fascinated by how today's pioneers are using that ancient wisdom to help deal with our modern world.
Today, we're going to look in a different direction, at the future. It's a place where leading-edge pioneers are building a new reality in the realm of healing, virtual reality.
Our inner world guide, Michele Bernhardt, is going to take us there.
Thanks, Roy and Judy. My trip into this new world took me to a small brick building in San Francisco's South of Market district. Inside, one startup company is taking a high-tech approach to healing one of the primal ailments of the brain, fear.
We talked to all the experts that we knew in virtual reality, and there were more than half a dozen of us that talked to as many people as we could, and started to triangulate on some really incredible opportunities.
Mike Rothenberg is a risk taker.
That's where companies like Sios and Fove and Deepstream stood out in a world where there were very few companies that had credible approaches to virtual reality in healthcare.
He's part of a new wave of venture capitalists who are betting on innovative ways to help heal bodies and minds. He's certainly not alone in backing the technology called virtual reality. You know those big goggles that engage you in 3D worlds of entertainment, travel, sports, gaming, you name it. But until now, not in a world of healing.
Fear of flying, fear of needles, fear of heights, and agoraphobia as well. So we have all these different scenarios that can help people.
Meet Xavier Palomer. He's visiting from his young company's headquarters in Barcelona, Spain. The co-founder and CEO of Sios is a bioengineer with a talent for technology and a passion for helping to cure us of our most common fears and phobias.
And Xavier is a very forward-thinking and passionate person who understands how to build this technology.
The Sios technology for dealing with fears and phobias is new, but the method is not. It's simple exposure therapy. But if a patient is trying to overcome, say, fear of flying, he or she no longer needs to conjure mental images of airports and airplanes to do it. Xavier's Sios system opens another door. Thanks to the internet, a way for a full-fledged therapy session to happen even while patient and therapist are miles apart. You're going to show me the fear of flying one?
Yeah.
Because sometimes I get, not always, but sometimes I do feel a little nervous in the plane.
So that's perfect.
Okay.
We are going to get over your fear.
Okay, show that to me.
So this is the control panel for the therapies. You have to remember that the patient usually wears the smartphone with this headset.
Okay, hold on. A smartphone and a headset? Well, what about those big, bulky goggles? It was another huge surprise. A lot of us are already carrying around a virtual reality machine in our pockets. Mike Rothenberg and one of his engineers demonstrated.
It works with almost any smartphone. Just like you're holding it the right way because you don't want the phone to slide out of it, but that allows it to be as lightweight as possible.
It's very light.
Of course, you can have the bigger ones that people have probably seen or are familiar with that cover up your peripheral.
I like this better. I feel freer. Those lenses in the headset make specially designed video playing on the smartphone pop out into a full 3D experience. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm watching a guy. He's like, well, he's gonna make, whoa.
What are you doing now?
I'm like in the water, I'm like a fish, or like.
Look to your left.
Just keep looking around. Just keep looking around.
Who's that?
It's all around you.
Oh my God, I'm like in the ocean. Back with Xavier, he now takes on the role of therapist. He's controlling the program and the environment the patient, that's me, is in. I'll slip on the smartphone headset and a little biofeedback sensor. The therapist will see the readout on the computer screen.
Okay, so now we have both devices sync. So now we can hit the start button and the virtual reality simulation starts on the cell phone. So you see that in both places you see the same.
Right.
So the therapist is able to see what the patient sees and also to see what the patient avoids to see. The therapist can correlate where they are looking at, what's their physiological response. They can ask the patient how they feel, so they see if the thinking they have about how they feel is the same as the body is reacting to. So you have all these different inputs that you can match. And you feel comfortable,
Yes.
and you are now flying. And if you turn your head,
Oh, yeah.
so you are in a
Okay, yeah,
360 environment, and I can change. Now I'm gonna change you the seat, so you are sitting now at the window. I'm gonna stop the turbulences.
Yes.
Your biofeedback measurements are going down, so you are getting relaxed, actually. So
Oh, that's good. In the headset, I'm seeing the full 3D version of this. The seating process, the other passengers, the plane gathering speed through my window, and takeoff. What makes me nervous, what comforts me, the therapist will see it all.
at the end of the session, the therapist gets a report. So whenever they hit finish, and what we get is a full report of what happened throughout the session.
Wow.
So this is for the notes of the therapist, the patient also, because if you give them, they have a more tangible way to measure how they are improving.
Now, how does this help the patient? Xavier explains that when therapists identify which parts of the flying experience evoke a fearful response, they select particular relaxation exercises for the patient to use on the spot. It's all built into the program. But does it work? Alex Bastille, a Stanford University researcher, explains it's a big step forward for patients who have had to imagine frightening scenarios to learn to deal with them.
You know, exposure therapy requires a lot of cognitive energy to imagine yourself in a place, particularly one that that causes lots of anxiety, that is a very stressful scenario. So I believe that, you know, in using this for exposure therapy, it really takes a lot of that investment of energy away. I definitely see it being adopted by more people, significantly more within the year, you know, especially once, you know, the research picks up and we can, you know, sort of quantify how effective this is.
Alex says the technology is especially promising for a particular group of patients.
Kids get excited because it's realistic. It's like a game. It's virtual reality. It's cool. So there's this buy-in factor that you can't really get with other therapeutic tools where, I mean, you don't have to pitch it as a therapeutic tool. You can pitch it as, you know, virtual reality. What kid isn't excited about that?
SIOS for fear and anxiety, FOV, virtual reality to give new abilities to people with conditions like muscular dystrophy. Deepstream, a promising use of VR to help manage pain without drugs. All currents in Mike Rothenberg's Blue River of startups, addressing new ways of healing.
We have more than 10 companies that use virtual reality technology, but they're really solving very real human needs that expand beyond just the excitement of this new technology.
What I really appreciate is the work Mike Rothenberg and his group of companies are doing on fear and phobias. But I think it's interesting to realize that we are very rarely afraid of what is happening to us in the moment. We are usually afraid of what has already happened or what may happen to us in the future. Usually when something scary is really happening, we deal with it. However, when we are feeling frightened, we do need something to help us move through the experience. One thing I've found very helpful and has helped many of my clients is to say, and it can be repeated, is, I am safe. And you could say it a few times, I am safe, I am safe. Or I may be feeling afraid, but I am safe. From a spiritual and metaphysical perspective, the words I am are very powerful. They are a universal command, and as we say I am safe, or I am beautiful, or I am loving, we create that reality.
Thanks, Michelle. And I am in full agreement with you that we do create our own reality.
And I am certain that it's wonderful to see these creative people making new technology that eases our fears instead of adding to them.
In a moment, we're going to get a crystal clear look at why you should rethink the low-fat, no-fat hype when it comes to dairy products.